Okay, let's get started. I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday. I'm really excited about sharing today's conversation. And as always, but also I'll just kind of always say it, is I really would love to hear your perspectives on what I talk about. Like, how does it land with you? How does it resonate with you? Does it create curiosity? Does it create insight? Does it open your perspective? Does it change your perspective? Does it trigger anger? I'm here for all of it. I am here for all of it. And I'd love to make more of a conversation. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Good morning on this casual, cozy Friday. That's my feelings this morning. Okay, so this, as you know, is Morning Lives with me. I am Melissa Agnes. I'm so glad you're here. This is a daily space to help leaders just like you stay grounded and connected to your inner strength, your inner resilience, your inner knowings, your vision, your purpose, all the things. That is what I am here to do. That is how I serve. That is who I serve. And I show up every single morning to do that with you in my way. So every morning I show up and we talk for about 10 minutes, sometimes 15, we talk about one grounded truth, perspective type of thing. Goal is to inspire, to empower, and to open perspective. I never want to change somebody's mind. My goal is always I feel like leaders, especially visionary leaders, if we can just broaden our perspective, and that can be our goal, right? To constantly broaden our perspectives, to get out of our biases, to get out of our lived experiences, to get into possibility and out of probability, then we can do even more powerful and wonderful things in regards to, or with regards to, having positive impact on the world. So that is what I try to do every morning. And followed by that, I host, sorry, still Friday morning. I lead a grounded breathwork session, coherence session, and I will talk more about that later. If you guys have thoughts or questions or ahas or anything as we go, please share it in the chat. I will respond after like 30 seconds because there's a 30-second lag-ish, but I love, love, love to hear your inputs and to kind of just know that you're out there, you're paying attention, you're with me. I'm not just talking to myself for my own vanity purposes. Okay, let's get into today. Oh, and then last thing before we do is please share this. If these morning lives are supportive for you, to you, please share them with other leaders, with other people who would benefit from them. They are free. They are my gift. So let's keep giving, okay? Let's have a world filled with more leaders who are aligned, who are coherent, who have opened perspectives, etc. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is safety. And it probably isn't going to be what you think. All right, so safety, we're going to start here. Safety comes from within. I talked a lot about this. Well, I talked about this yesterday in yesterday's topic. I can't remember what yesterday's topic was at the top of my head, but it doesn't matter. I talked about it yesterday. Safety comes from within. The more safe we feel in our bodies, in our skin, in our coherence, in our groundedness, in our vision, in our power, the stronger leaders we are. Period. What's kind of interesting for me is that it is also the visionary leader's responsibility to create safety for those you're leading. So it's kind of this interesting dynamic when you think about it in this way, is it's your responsibility to create safety, and in fact there are 4 levels of safety that you have to create that we're going to talk about today, at least a high level. But it's your responsibility to create this safety so that others can feel safe in your presence, so that others, by feeling safe, what does that mean? It means that they're not in survival, they're not in fear, they're in regulation. Their prefrontal cortex is hopefully activated, or at least has more opportunity to be activated, which means that they can get into creation, which means that they can be receptive to your message, which means that by you being the foundation of safety for them, there's this unspoken, oftentimes unconscious level of trust that they give to you by default. And that is extremely powerful and beneficial to your mission. So it's your responsibility to create that safety, and yet safety comes from within. So how do you do that, right? Safety comes from within, which means that people are responsible for their own safety, yet you're also responsible for creating safety. And this can be, I think it's such an interesting way to see this, and it's so powerful. I've said this before. I don't know who to attribute this to, so if anybody knows who to attribute this to, please tell me. It's one of the sayings that I've heard that I love is the most powerful person in the room is the most regulated person in the room. Why? Because when we are in regulation, right, nervous system regulation, coherence, heart-brain coherence, which we do together every single morning in our drop-ins, that creates deeper safety within, and when we feel safe within, we exude safety without, if that makes sense. We project safety. We transmit safety, which helps other people feel safe. When you feel safe, you get out of survival, you get out of into creation, you get out of probability, you get into possibility. You get out of a shut down, disengaged prefrontal cortex, you get into an activated prefrontal cortex. All of these things matter to your leadership, both for you and for leading those that you're leading. So the more safety you can feel within yourself, the more safety you will bring to others, because safety comes from within. But most people don't know this. Yeah, that's what I talked about yesterday. Yesterday I talked about how in uncertainty and chaos that even leaders search for leaders. When they don't have the answers, they look for other people to have answers. But in unknowns, in uncertainties, in shifts, and in chaos, there's often not the answers. So what happens is we get this void of communication, void of leadership. When everybody's looking externally, the visionary leader remembers that they can look internally. And they receive the clarity that they're looking for. They receive the guidance that they're looking for. And at that, by looking internally, in order to access that clarity and that guidance, you have to feel safe from within. So see how all these things are so interconnected? And then when you have a regulated nervous system, we co-regulate as human beings. So now your safety becomes the platform for other people to feel safe, which creates trust and credibility, which means that you are a trusted, credible leader, and people want to listen to you and follow you, right? So you see how all of this is interconnected. So what are the 4 levels of safety? I'm only talking for like another 3-4 minutes, so I won't be able to get into all of it. But these are the things that I teach you that you learn to embody and truly step into and become in the Visionary Leadership Mastermind. So if that's interesting to you, hit me up. Send me an email, send me a DM, send me a whatever. Just say mastermind. I'm curious about the mastermind. We'll talk about it. But for today's purpose, there are 4 levels of safety that you, as the visionary leader, are responsible for creating. And you're responsible for creating this because you are the leader. So it's part of your responsibility, period. And it serves your leadership for all the reasons that I've just named. So those 4 levels of leadership are safety, are physical. That's the most kind of tangible one, right? Making sure that if you're hosting a town hall or if you're sharing something or you're leading something or whatever it is, that the environment itself physically is safe. You're not hosting a town hall in a burning building. You're making sure that, people aren't aggressive and aren't in a place where they feel like they are physically unsafe. Okay, that's your first level. The second level is psychological. Psychological means that as a leader, you are a safe place for people to bring their thoughts to. If somebody challenges you, you're not going to get reactive and defensive and start speaking from reaction, because now you're triggered and you don't know how to manage your own emotionality. Right? So psychological safety means that somebody can come to you and say, I don't actually agree with what you said. And you go, oh, okay, let's talk about that. I'd love to hear more. That is a safe psychological place. People need to feel psychologically safe in your presence in order to feel safe with you and to ultimately deepen the trust and credibility that they give to you, which is earned. It's so funny when people say with all due respect and they're saying that to somebody who doesn't deserve respect. What's the due respect? Respect is earned. But as a leader, if you are a leader, you are earning that respect all the time, moment after moment. So physical, psychological, emotional safety. This is where most leaders get it very wrong because they don't know, they haven't been taught. It's nobody's fault, but we can change it. They haven't been taught how to manage their own emotionality. Most leaders, most people are scared of emotion. It makes them uncomfortable because they don't know how to manage their own, how to sit in comfort with their own. How comfortable are you when you are sad? How comfortable are you when you are angry? I've said this before and I'll always say it. Emotion is not negative or positive. What we do with our emotion is negative or positive. Emotion is neutral. Emotion just is. Emotion is the chemical reaction in our body and is energy in motion. So it's not scary. It's part of the actual beautiful gifts of humanity. We get to feel. And if you're not comfortable with feeling, this goes back to safety comes from within. If you're not safe in your own emotions, you're not going to be able to meet people in their emotionality and lead them through it. It's one of the biggest things that we teach at Crisis Ready because most leaders don't know how to do this. And in fact, most leaders get so triggered when they hear me talk about this that I've actually been on stage on a keynote and had people stand up and blast me verbally because I was talking about emotionality. Because I was talking about in times of crisis, right? How crises are some of the most emotional times you're ever going to have to lead through. And so in order to lead through that emotionality, you have to be comfortable with it, you have to feel safe in it, and you have to create emotional safety for others, which means what? It means that you can meet them in whatever intensity of emotion and energy of that emotion that they are feeling, that you don't shy away, that you don't put up your barriers. You don't self-preserve, self-protect, because you are strong enough and courageous enough to get in there with them. It doesn't mean that you're going to succumb to their emotions and that it's going to swallow you whole, because you are safe in yourself. And cognitive empathy means that no matter what, means that you have the strength and the courage to get into the emotionality, sit in the emotionality with people, meet them in their emotionality, and help them move through it without getting lost in it. A cognitive empathy says that you know where you end and where they begin. I can sit with somebody who is in the depths of the most intense emotions, and I can have deep empathy, and I can meet them there, and I can sit with them in that. But that doesn't mean that I take on that emotion for myself. And then like even more than that, this is the super skills, is then you know how to release that emotion for yourself. Once you stop leading, you go and you tend to your own emotionality because that energy can get stuck in you, so you know how to empty out, right? That's part of emotional intelligence, well, for a lack of a better way of saying it. So physical safety, psychological safety, emotional safety. The fourth level of safety that you are responsible for is energetic safety. I was going to say visionary safety. Sorry. Energetic safety. What is energetic safety? Energetic safety means that you walk into a room and people feel safe with you just by nature of your presence. How do you get there? By being regulated, by being grounded. You get there by walking into a room empty, in the sense of you're not bringing your crap to the situation because you've cleared your crap, right? You are allowed to feel, you are human, but when you're leading and you're leading through intense moments of shifts and changes, you know how to regulate yourself. You know how to get yourself out of survival and into creation, and you show up in that energy. That, in and of itself, is a skill set. That is a big piece of what we do and what you learn and embody in the mastermind that I hold. That is a big piece. Because why? Because as human beings, we co-regulate. And the most powerful person in the room is the most regulated person in the room. And that is the energetic safety. Have you ever been with somebody in somebody's presence and you're like, this person just like makes you feel calm and good. That person isn't frantic, right? That person is regulated and they're grounded and they're safe in themselves. And that transmits out and helps to co-regulate your system, and that's why you feel good in their presence. Visionary leaders know how to do that. That is part of the skill set. That is part of your responsibility. Okay, so safety comes from within. Meanwhile, you are responsible as a visionary leader to create the 4 levels of safety for those you're leading: physical, psychological, emotional, and energetic. But you have to be safe in all of these 4 ways within yourself in order to do that for others. So that's why this is such an interesting, fascinating concept, dynamic, conversation, topic, skill set. Okay, I've gone over my time by a minute. Let's do our drop-in. Today's drop-in is going to be about finding that safety. How safe and good can you feel in your body? We're going to do that by breathing, as we do every morning. All you have to do is breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth, and listen to my voice, and listen to your body. Oftentimes when we start to begin to learn these things, emotions start to come out. Emotions that we may not have felt safe to feel in the past. The more you breathe, if you're in a breath session and all of a sudden you start crying, male, female, doesn't matter. You start having tears come down your eyes. That's amazing. That means your body feels safe enough to release. That's amazing. That means you're emptying so that you can have your full capacity to go back out onto the battlefield and lead the missions that you're here to lead. But oftentimes in our society, we've been taught to shut that down. Crying's for the weak. Emotions for the weak. In fact, no, it is the weak that say that, who say that, because they're not strong enough to actually sit in their emotionality and feel safe in it. So that's part of the work. So all of that to say, today's session, breathwork session, whatever arises, just sit with it. I'll talk about titration another day. Titration is a great tool to sit with it with. For today, it's just about see what you notice and see how good you can feel, how safe you can feel. Okay, so shutting down distractions. Closing your tabs, putting your phone away if you're not watching this from your phone. If you are driving, don't do this. Come back at a different time and watch the recording. They are available to you on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and wherever podcasts are streamed. You just have to look up Morning Lives with Melissa Agnes or just put in my name, Melissa Agnes, and you'll find it. If you are in public and you can be still, but you feel a little silly because there's people around, well, how safe can you feel in that silly? There's a great challenge for you. When we stop caring about what other people think and we do what we need, we give to our bodies, to ourselves what we need, we become the leaders who get to lead by example, and we need more of that in our world, in a good way. So, getting comfortable, sinking into the seat that you are seated upon, shutting down your eyes or softening your gaze, whatever feels best to you. Shaking out if it's already been a day for you, whether it's 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 2 p.m., whatever it is, it may have already been a day for you because we all know we have those days. And just kind of getting comfy and getting still. And let's begin the breath. So it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. With every breath being your life force, the thing that keeps you alive, which means it gets to feel good. So with every breath, how good can you allow it to feel? And when you feel good, you tend to feel safe. Method to my madness. So keeping that breath flowing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose. And on your next exhale through the mouth, let's follow that breath all the way down your body. So out through the mouth, following it down your throat, feeling the sensations, following it down your chest, following it down your belly, until it lands with your awareness into your sit bones. And as you continuously move that breath, don't stop breathing. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, bringing your awareness to your sit bones. What do you notice? What do you notice? Maybe you notice sensations. Maybe you notice a little tension. You want to breathe into it. Just kind of notice what you notice. This is a zero judgment zone, so there's no wrong way of doing any of this. There's just open curiosity. You get to be curious. You get to experiment. This is your connection, your relationship with your body and your deepening sense of safety. Noticing that the seat beneath you, how sturdy it is, which means that if you want to release even more of your weight, of your tension into it, it's not going to mind. And you're safe to do so. It's not going to drop you. On your next inhale, coming up with that breath, following your breath from your sit bones into your nose, up your belly, and landing right there in that big, beautiful heart of yours. And with every inhale through the nose, you're expanding your heart space. So you're breathing in mechanically through your nose, but in fact, you are imagining that it is your heart that is actually taking in that air. And with every exhale through your mouth, you're following that breath down from your heart into your solar plexus, into your belly. And that's the cycle. In through the nose, calmly, gently opening up that heart space, out through the mouth, feeling it sink you deeper into your belly, into the safety, the comfort, the relaxation. This breath in and of itself, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and focusing on your heart center, and then into your solar plexus. This breath in and of itself is a way to begin to regulate your nervous system when you can feel that it's dysregulated, when you can feel stress, anxiety, worry, overwhelm start to hit your system. This breath in and of itself signals to your body that you are safe. And by bringing your awareness to what your body is doing, taking those breaths in through your heart, following it down into your belly, letting it feel good, feeling it signal to your body that you are safe, the more you do that, the more you are getting out of your brain and into the intelligence of your body, which is where clarity comes from, safety comes from. All these skills, these potent, important skills of a visionary leader that we talk about every morning, this is where we find these things. So in through the nose, opening up that heart space, out through the mouth, deepening into your belly. And if you're anything like me, you might feel your root center activate. And whatever feels good, get curious about it. Maybe taking in that breath feels so good. How can you amplify that? How can you open up that heart space even more? Keep circulating the breath so that you could feel even better. Maybe breathing into your belly or activating different, feeling different parts of you come online. Maybe that feels so good. How can you let it feel even better? big part of our society has subscribed to like no pain, no gain. That's bullshit. We get to rework that belief system, that misguided belief system. Your breath, your coherence, your alignment, your vision, your power gets to feel good. And it gets to come with ease. It doesn't have to be a grind. That'll be a topic for another day. Keep that breath flowing in through the nose, opening up that heart space. Out through the mouth, into the belly. How safe, how good can you allow yourself to feel? And then, in our last few moments of breath, bringing a hand to your heart space if you don't already have one there. And let's bring in gratitude. Keep that breath circulating in through the nose, opening up the heart space, out through the mouth, sinking more deeply into the safety of the belly. Bring in gratitude. Gratitude for your body, for being this access portal to the depths of your leadership capabilities and capacities. It's all right here. It's all accessible. It's one breath away every day, every moment. And it's yours, and it's your divine right, and we can be grateful for that. So as you circulate that breath, bring in that gratitude. Feel grateful for your body. Feel grateful for your breath. Feel grateful to yourself for showing up and doing this work. This work that is work. This is the work. It also is work that gets to feel so good. And we can be grateful for that. Last few moments of breath. Begin wiggling your fingers and your toes when you're ready. Coming back to the room. Coming back to the space. Coming back to me. Typing in the chat how that was for you, what you might have noticed, what you feel. If there's a difference, if there's a shift, if there was emotion, if there was annoyance, whatever it might have been. I'd love to hear it. Safety is such an interesting topic, in my opinion. The safer you feel in your body, with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your breath, with yourself, the more powerful and potent your leadership. Safety comes from within, and it is the visionary's leader's responsibility to cultivate continuously the depths of your ability to feel safe in and with your body. Your body being the whole of you, your emotionality, your thoughts, your regulation, physically, all the things. And the more you're able to do that, the more you are able to lead with safety, which is also your responsibility. You are not a visionary leader if you cannot create 4 levels of safety that come from within and that you lend your safety to those you're leading. Those 4 levels of safety are physical. Are people physically safe in your presence, in your leadership, as a result of your leadership? If the answer is no, you are not a visionary leader. Underscore that. I could scream that. I mean that so much. Psychologically, are people safe to come and challenge your thinking, or does your ego kick in and you get defensive and you become a child? Which one is true? Which one do you want to be? People need to feel safe in your presence, not just physically, but psychologically. Emotionally, are you courageous enough, strong enough, safe enough in your own emotionality where when you feel sad, you can sit with it? When you feel angry, you can feel it. You can process it rather than shutting it down or reacting like a child. But you can process it. You can cultivate meaning from it. You can raise your vibrations from it. If you can do that with yourself, you can bring that to others. And as a visionary leader, you need to be able to cultivate and to lend emotional safety to those you are leading. Because when you are a visionary leader, you're going to lead through moments of change and chaos and disruption and dysregulation. And those come with a high stakes emotion. And if you can't sit in there with cognitive empathy and feel safe in your body while you sit with somebody else's intense emotions, you're not ready to call yourself a visionary leader yet. It starts from within. If you can't sit with your own sadness, you can't support and serve somebody else through theirs. It's part of your responsibility. And then lastly, energetic safety. Do you feel, are you able to access when everything in the world is shifting and changing and feels scary? Can you get calm? Can you get quiet? Can you regulate your nervous system so that you are not leading from a place of survival and fear and a shut down prefrontal cortex, but instead you are leading from possibility, from regulation, a regulated nervous system, from creation. And in being able to do these 4 things for yourself, you then lend that safety to those you're leading, and you become an extremely powerful and worthy leader who is able to move mountains and create the positive change in the world that you, or the positive impact in the world that you are here to create. And that is what I wish for you, because that is what our world needs more of. If you want to learn these skills in the sense of not just understanding them from an intellectual standpoint, but actually becoming the most potent version of this, of yourself, within yourself as a leader, then send me a message, an email, a DM on LinkedIn, on Instagram, comment on one of these videos, the word mastermind. And I will share with you the 12-month program that will completely transform you into the most potent, most powerful, most empowered, most resonant leader, visionary leader that you are here to be. That is my purpose. And with that, I am grateful to you for showing up this morning and for choosing you and for listening to this. And if you have thoughts, or if I activated you in some way, or I pissed you off, or I made you feel something, share it with me. Let's talk about it, because guess what? I can handle it. And I'd love to have the conversation. I love to learn about how this stuff lands. And if it landed in a positive way, I absolutely want to hear that too, obviously. But I'm just saying that all is welcome with me. All right, with that, I will see you on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, live on LinkedIn and Instagram, 9 a.m. Eastern, for another morning live with me, Melissa Agnes, where I will share another thing, another perspective, another skill set, and then we will begin to embody it with a coherent drop-in. Coherence drop-in? And with that, practice your safety. Oh, David says, my favorite episode yet, thanks. Definitely landed. Thank you. I love this topic. This topic is so powerful, and it's so potent, and it's so expansive, right? Like, what an incredible thing when you are able to show up in safety, in regulation, and nothing phases you, in the sense of nothing makes you wobble. You never lose sight of who you are and how capable you are. You never lose sight of the vision that you're bringing to the world, the impact that you're here to make. You don't let other people's insecurities and high emotionality or intense emotionality and the energy that comes with it shake you. Like, I can tell you from firsthand experience, this takes a lot of work. But that's what I'm here for. I am here to help you do that work and truly step into that. That is what lights me up. So thank you for saying that, David. That means everything to me. All right, with that, remember, you can access your safety. Your regulation is always a breath away, and you can come to these recordings and you can practice this over the weekends when I'm not doing it live with you. And I will see you Monday morning for another morning live with me, Melissa Agnes. I'm so grateful for you. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.